Right, good morning. It's raining. It is absolutely pissing it down. So I had hoped to do a quick photo walk on my commute in this morning. I was going to test out my Voigtlander 15mm Helier, newish on my M11P. However, I didn't look at the weather forecast. So that's out. And instead, I am going to test the IP54 weather sealing rating of my Q343. That's all I'm going to take. Might be able to get some B-roll with it as well for this video. Not my normal choice for the street photography, but I think given how much it is raining today, good opportunity to do that. Maybe I'll find some nice, colourful umbrellas. What I'm going to do, I'm going to get the district line to Westminster, get off there, see what's happening at Parliament Square, and then head east to the city for a meeting this morning. And then, depending on timing, I might even head back a slightly different route in the afternoon. Let's see how we get on.
Information announcement. The next train to Edgware Road will depart from alongside platform 1.
As you can see, I came out onto a very, very wet Parliament Square, really busy as well. So I started to walk around and found a few shots. I came across this guy being interviewed by a young lady on a phone, probably something political, not sure, looked interesting, so took a snap. I really liked the look of this guy in the hat and boots walking across the road. I wasn't that happy with the snap, but he did clock me taking his picture, and I'm afraid I did pussy out of getting another one closer up. I'm actually quite pleased with this one of Big Ben in the London Eye. I didn't expect that much from it when I took the shot, but it actually turned out quite nicely. And the same for this one, actually. Not expecting much from it again, but again, turned out quite nicely with the cyclist there and the two policemen, with the two people in the background looking at the sky holding umbrellas. And then looking at the time, I realised that I had to start actually heading in the right direction, and started walking east on Parliament Square when I clocked these three colourful umbrellas, which I thought looked quite pleasing, so I took a couple of pictures of them. I will link in the description below as well a link to my website for all of the photographs that I've taken in this video. You'll also be able to find photographs from other videos if you're interested. I then saw these three rather smartly dressed chaps looking a little out of place. I did want to get a picture of them from the front, but they had clocked me by then, so I had to make do with what I had. These two are actually a couple of my favourites from the day. Not entirely sure why, but I just really liked the composition, really liked the colour, and just thought they went really well together. Got to love the 11 AM beers. I was a little jealous, almost considered stopping in for a pint. So I actually thought these flags looked really cool, just slowly sort of swaying in the wind, and thought that I would use the opportunity to try out the Q343's camera for some B-roll. It did work, but as you can see, I don't think that this camera is very well suited for video work handheld, so I went back to taking a photo of it. Still looks nice, I think. Now this guy I really wanted to get a closer picture of. I was even considering asking him for a portrait, but he gave me a look that suggested he was not up for it. Now this guy walking along looked very, very interesting indeed. I managed to actually get a bit of B-roll on the Q3 before quickly switching to photo so that I could take some shots of him opening his umbrella. I actually think they work quite well. I'm quite pleased with them. But yeah, he is certainly a character. Yeah, every umbrella shot was always going to be a bit of a disappointment after that chat before, but worth it anyway. So just walking up to Trafalgar Square, often there's quite a lot to be had around there. Today, not as much. Guy on a bike was quite interesting, then came across this guy teaching some kids, I think. Looked pretty cool, but yeah, not as much as there often is. I managed to get a few interesting shots of some characters walking along the Strand. Nothing that'll make it into a portfolio or into an album, but worth it for a day of street photography nonetheless for me. This guy probably is actually worth an honourable mention. I walked past him and he was stroking the wall, so that was definitely worth a picture, although the photograph probably doesn't quite do it justice. I actually clocked this guy as I was crossing the road at the traffic lights, and I thought that was just so fantastic, with a rainbow bag and then against the rainbow chairs, that I just had to follow him and take a picture. So as I was walking across Aldwych and past King's College, took a few more snaps, but I suddenly realised that I was going to be late for my meeting, so unfortunately I couldn't walk all the way into the city along Fleet Street as I'd planned, so I headed pretty quickly down towards Temple, taking a couple of photographs on the way, and hoping that I would be able to do the second half of my journey on the way back. Annoyingly, I just missed the tube, so took the opportunity to take a few pictures on the platform. So the trip in was all right. I got a few snaps, but nowhere near as many as I wanted, and then I ran out of time. I had to get in and have a meeting. So what I'm going to do now is do the other half of the trip that I couldn't do on the way in. So I'm going to walk from the city to Temple and see what we can get on the way there. So having decided to give it another go, headed out of the office down towards Cannon Street, and managed to get some decent shots of some workmen, and started heading towards Temple. Not much going on Cannon Street, to be totally honest. Had one guy that was a delivery driver that I managed to get a sneaky snap of, and a couple of guys on bikes that looked vaguely interesting, but otherwise just really trying to get over to Fleet Street to find some more interesting snaps. I did quite like this woman on a bike just underneath this boxing advertisement, which looked quite nice to me. And then the chap sort of laughing, hiding from the rain, having a ciggy, and then another lady waiting for the bus. I think all of these were quite nice moments. These next two were also a couple of my favourites from the day. You got that very smart gentleman in the middle on the first one, walking along, and I just think it really works really well with the composition of the lady on the left, also on the phone, and the guy on the right clearly on a mission. And then you've got the dog handling police officer, which I don't know, I just like it. Maybe it's just I like anything to do with dogs, but I think that's a very pleasing photograph as well. So walking along Fleet Street up towards Aldwych, I just continued to look out for photographs that appealed to me. I think I saw some that I quite liked. I think I'm quite pleased with a few of them. I particularly like the one of the lady in the glass on the restaurant window, and the one of the hazy scene at the crossroads of Blackfriars. I really liked the one of the Asian lady in the colourful clothing. I thought she looked brilliant. But yeah, just walking up along Fleet Street, taking some snaps, and found some reasonably pleasing images, and quite quickly got towards my turn to Temple. So reasonably speedy end bit of the day going down towards Temple. I found a few photographs I actually really quite liked, and a couple that I think were my favourite of the day. There was this passage that I came across that I didn't actually know about because it's sort of quite grand, but actually relatively hidden. And after I passed this guy smoking, who definitely clocked me, I saw a guy start to come out of the passageway, and I think I got a picture that I'm actually pretty pleased with. And then I got closer to the passageway, and just by pure luck, as I was getting there, a guy walked out, and I think I got a fantastic snap of this guy. I'm really pleased with that. And then, as I walk around the corner, another Asian lady walks up, and I think I got what is possibly my favourite picture of the entire day. I guess you guys will be the judge, but I really like that picture. I don't know why. I think it almost looks like it could be on a catwalk. Plus, there's always a phone box. I got a couple more on my route to Temple. I'm really pleased with the couple I got of this guy standing outside the station. At first, he looked almost kind of aggressive, and then I got another snap of him just looking absolutely animated. So, really pleased with that as well. So I then got on the tube and obviously turned off my cam, but I think I had a reasonably good day. I actually managed to get a couple of extra shots on the tube, which I was quite pleased with, and a couple more once I got to Wimbledon, so please enjoy. I just got back from my little trip. It was okay. It was not the most successful trip that I've ever had. It was pretty miserable weather, and I do love this camera. I've had it for about 6 months, and this is my go-to family camera. Anytime going on a dog walk or going out with my daughter, just something that I can quite easily take around with me. It fits, I wouldn't say, well, it doesn't fit in a pocket, but it fits in a bag quite easily. You can chuck it in a bag. And it has a bit of video on it, or as I think people said, the video is not the best. But it's got autofocus. It's got a 43mm lens, which I think is actually excellent. I think my experience with this for street photography is, I would say, mixed. I think it's obviously a fantastic lens for it. The Apo lens, is, I think it's like £6,000 just for the lens if you bought it on its own. I'm not really used to shooting autofocus for street photography, and I did try it today, and I think it takes a bit of getting used to. I did run into quite a few issues where it was just picking up the subject that wasn't my subject, which I guess why on earth would it know that that person instead of that person was the one I actually wanted to shoot? So I think trying to get shots quickly is actually bizarrely easier in zone focusing with manual focus. You can manual focus on this, and I will give that a go next time, but it's quite cumbersome to take it out of autofocus. One of the really nice things about it was that I was able to get some B-roll shot on this. Obviously, if I'm walking around with my M11, I'm not going to bother to take this out to get some cinematic looking B-roll while I'm on a mission to get somewhere. So I suppose overall, is this going to be my new street photography camera? No, I definitely prefer the M11. I like experimenting with the different lenses on the M11, and I do just love that camera more. However, this will definitely remain my backup, and it will definitely remain my family shoot camera, and it will definitely remain my rain camera. I'm not sure what my next video will be. One that I'm certainly going to do is that I've got a skiing trip coming up with some friends. I've ordered for it the Brighton Star 28mm, the little pancake lens to go on my M11, so it can go into my ski jacket pocket. I'm really excited about getting that. Hasn't arrived yet. So predominantly, I think that trip will be shot using the Brighton Star 28. But yeah, stay tuned to see that video, and I'll see if the opportunity comes up for an additional video between this one and that. Thanks very much.